Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to create an illustration very rich in texture. So what I'm talking about is we're going to create this illustration using Adobe Fresco. So let's just get started. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new document. You can click on square. If you don't see it, you can click on custom size or click on create new. And in here under digital, you'll see the square option. Just click on that. Okay, so if you want a sketch for this illustration, go ahead and download it from the link in the description box below. I've also provided a color palette, so if you're interested, go ahead and pick it up as well. So if you want to bring in the sketch, you can go ahead and click on your images, and once you have downloaded, you can click on photos and you'll see your sketch and bring it in. But for this illustration, we'll try to draw it from scratch, shall we? And let's go ahead and bring in the color palette for now. Let's go to photos and bring in the color palette. I'm just going to increase the size by using these corners here so that I can see this much easily, and then click on done. So now all you have to do is click and hold on the color like this until this icon pops up and that chooses that color. And now you just have to draw on your artboard. It doesn't matter which brush you're on, it creates everything on a different layer. And the reason you do that is once you click here on the color, you'll see them under recents. Let me just uncheck that. Yeah, under recents you'll see the color. So let's go ahead and choose all the colors and bring them into our color palette. Okay, so once you have everything ready, you can just click on this layer and click on delete layer. And for this one, we'll just hide it just in case we need to revisit it, or if you want to pick some color or something like that. All right, so now let's start with the illustration. Let's draw a mango. So click on a new layer. For brush, I'm just going to go into my pixel brushes and maybe I'll choose, I don't know, go to ink and Belgian comics. It's one of my favorites, so that's okay. And then for size, 134 should be fine. Okay, and then to draw a mango, draw like a half circle and bring it around here. And then let's just go ahead and make it like this. So if you feel like it's too round here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just like that. Yeah, that looks good. And then a stalk and maybe something like that. And I'm going to draw some leaves actually. So you don't really need to draw the leaves beforehand, but I think it will look good. So I'm just going to go ahead and add one leaf here. Too thick, I guess. Maybe like that. And then one here. Maybe cover the stalk a little bit. And then one here. Maybe here one. Something like that. And maybe here. And let's do one here and one, I think I'll do one here like that. So if you don't want to draw this, skip this part completely. You can just go ahead and get my sketch, or you can actually draw directly using your brushes. And maybe this looks empty, so I'm just going to add one there. And let's come back and look at it when we're drawing and see where more leaves need to go, okay? So once you have that, I'm going to go into these levels here and reduce the opacity to about 30. It depends on how much you can actually see. I think on the screen, 30 would look good, so that's why I'm choosing 30. Now let's click on a new layer and we're going to start painting. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and choose my brush, go into that and go into dry media. And in here, you'll see something called as hard pastel. And that's what we're going to use for this illustration. So let me just quickly check the size. And I think this size should be okay. But we're going to use a different color. So let's go ahead and choose yellow. This bright yellow right here. We're going to use that. And I'm going to probably increase the size to about 200. By the way, if you click and hold, you'll get a keypad. And then you can type in the number that you want. But I'm just going to keep it at around 200. And now I'm going to draw my mango. I'm not putting a lot of pressure like this. I'm just trying to put in a subtle pressure so that there are these gaps, as you can see it, right? We want those gaps. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that and try to mimic the shape. It's okay if you cannot get the exact shape. We can go ahead and erase it later. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and create a new layer and fill it with the fill tool here. And click and select black and fill it up. The reason I'm doing this is because you can see the mango. Otherwise, you won't be able to see it, okay? Once the mango is done, we're going to uncheck that. Let's go back to our brush and I'm going to, go back and select your color now. And just draw like that. and I'm going to make it a little darker because I have a reason why I need this layer. Let's just do that. All right, so now click on a new layer and click on this button here to create a clipping mask. So let's go ahead and choose other colors now. So I want a little bit of green in there. So I'm going to choose this, I think this green here. It doesn't matter actually, you can choose any green you want. So I'm just going to add some texture. Now just look at this, I'm using such light pressure, like I'm not doing this, am I? I'm just gonna add a little bit of pressure here, as if you're just touching the screen, really not putting too much pressure in here. Just touch the screen a little bit and make this. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and choose an orange color, this bright orange right here, and I'm going to add a bit here. Again, I'm not using a lot of pressure at all. It's going to be very, very, very subtle, little bit of pressure. And I'll go ahead and uncheck this black layer by clicking on this eye, just to look at how my sketch is coming along. Okay, so I think this looks okay-ish. I'll go back to this orange layer and try to add a little bit of orange pop here and over here as well. So one thing you should notice is because we are on clipping mask, even if you go outside this layer, it doesn't show up because it really depends on this layer beneath it. Okay, so don't worry about going outside like this. It's totally okay. All right, so once I have this ready, I'm going to go ahead and concentrate now on the leaves. So let me go ahead and create a layer right above the sketch layer because we want all the leaves to be behind the mango, okay? So click on a new layer. Okay, so the camera angle might be a little different. That's because I recorded the entire video and it turns out iPhone ran out of storage and it didn't save any of it. Okay, so I'm at it again. So let's just start from where I left off. So, okay. We have created a new layer and we're going to concentrate on leaves now. We'll start off with the red leaves. So I'm just going to go ahead into the bright red that I have right now. And obviously I'm still at the hard pastel and I'm going to keep the size to about 224. I think that should be good. You know what? I'm going to choose the nice bright red that I have. I think that looks nicer. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw the leaves now and make sure you don't add a lot of pressure. Just some places, it's okay. You don't have to worry about the sharp edges. It's totally okay. And now click on a new layer and click on this clipping mask now. And we're going to choose the right orange right here and try to add some orange bits to it. So I'm just going to add orange bits to it like this. So if you look closely, you can see that it's added, oops, let's click on that. It's added the orange bits only on the area where we had red, that is these whites are preserved. So what I mean to say is if I go into some random basic brush, basic hard round. So if you look at the basic hard round, it's like this, it doesn't have any texture. So if I use that on this clipping mask here on the part where there's red, you can see that it still covers only the part where the red was. So that's the beauty of using the clipping mask, and even though we're using a textured brush, don't worry, it'll just cover the area where there's red. Okay, so if you want, for example, here it looks so much white and you know, there's not enough red, you can just go back to this red layer, choose the color that you want to give, and then try, oops, go back to your brush obviously, and try to draw in a bit more of color in here. So if you go ahead to these orange bits and try to add a bit more of red, you can see that the orange bits show up a lot more. Okay, I'm going to add it here a little bit and maybe here as well. I like the whites, but I want it to be a bit more colorful as well. Okay, that looks good. And now let's go ahead and choose the darkest red that we have here, this one. And I'm going to reduce this to about 80s, 90s, somewhat in that. So I'm going to go back into the clipping mask and I'm going to add lines like this. And I'm going to add a lot of pressure here, by the way, so that it's darker like that. last one. That's good. And now it's time to create the other one. So you're in clipping mask, click on a new layer, and let's do the green one now. So I'm going to choose this middle green that I have, and I'll just increase this to 200-ish, and then try to draw. So that's too dark. Okay, that looks good. Click on a new layer, clipping mask. And we're going to go ahead and choose the really light green that we have. And let's add some light color to this. Maybe here. And maybe here. Okay, and time to add the darker green that we have here. And obviously reduce this to about 80s. All right, so our leaves are ready. Now it's time to make the blue ones, but the blue ones, I want to make it in the background. So I'm going to go back to the sketch layer because it is in the bottommost layer. So click on a new layer and choose the middle blue that you have, not the lighter one, not the darker one. And let's increase the size, obviously. And then let's draw this. I want one here because we didn't draw that earlier. Something like that. And obviously one here. This is blue as well. Okay, and maybe here as well. Okay, that should be fine. And I'm going to click on a new layer and click on clipping mask. And then let's choose the lighter blue and just add light blue a little bit. And then let's choose a dark blue right now and go back to 80s. And then you do this. All right, so now it's time to go ahead and add some black. So I'll go to the sketch layer again, click on a new layer, and we're going to go ahead and choose black. And I'll keep the brush size as that. And I'm trying to fill in with a black right now. So I'll just go ahead and fill in. Don't worry that you're going behind this color. We're going to go ahead and erase it later. You can actually do a full fill, by the way, but it's going to make all other leaves and mango, everything really dark, and we don't want that. What I mean is, if you put black, you can see that it comes behind the sleeve, and that doesn't look so good. So I'm going to add just in the gaps. Okay, that's good. But now we have to go ahead and fix some things. That's because we don't want it on that. So let's go to eraser, and I'm going to keep it around 132. And I'm going to go ahead and slowly erase this off wherever I see this leaf, you know, like this mango. You can just erase it off like that. You don't have to be very particular. I'm just roughly erasing it. For example, you can see these bits are still on black. It's okay. Doesn't matter so much. You can use your 2 finger to undo things, by the way. If you can hear noises, that's my neighbors are having a barbecue, and yeah, they're being very loud, but it's okay. People are allowed to have fun. All right, bit here. Just take a look. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so we are done with that part as well. And there's one thing which I forgot to cover because I had already done and I forgot about it. That is fixing the mango. So if you remember, I'm just going to go ahead and draw the mango the way it was. Let me just go ahead and choose the yellow. Okay, so there were some extra bits like this. Not exactly like that, but like that. Okay, and what I did was I just went to the eraser tool, and you go into the mango layer and you slowly erase off so that you get this nice crispy edges for the mango. So you don't really have to make it completely nice and crispy. but you know, you can just take off these excess bits so that you have a really nice mango, because as you can remember, we didn't exactly draw it properly. We just use the texture brush, so things were going out a little bit. But yeah, you can go ahead and fix it with the eraser tool. And once you're done with this, there's a last bit left. Go to the clipping mask on top, click on a new layer, and now let's go ahead and choose this dark red that we have, and I'm going to go to the brush obviously and keep it at 80s. That's perfect. And let's draw a stalk like this. So that's it. Your artwork is ready, and you can see this rich texture on your artwork. All you have to do now is click on the share button, publish and export. Export as, you can export it as a PNG or JPEG or anything that you want, and click on export. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when I post a new video. I usually post a Fresco video every Tuesday, so don't forget to check back in next week as well. And you can always support me by buying me a coffee on ko-fi.com. You can find the link in the description box below. If you cannot do that, it's okay. You can always share my video with your friends and family or anyone who is interested, or on your social media, so that, you know, you can let people know about my tiny channel. If you ever create anything using my tutorial, don't forget to tag me on Instagram, that is at printmesomecolor or at thinkbeyondcolor, and I would love to see what you create. Okay, so that's it then. I think I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.